Because you can't have mercy without good manners. You can't have mercy without good dealings between people. So that means even when Allah Azza wa Jalla is describing why He sent the Prophet ﷺ, in it is an indication or a hint to the importance of good manners. That the Prophet was sent to come with good manners as well and teach us good manners. You know, from the early Muslims, the scholars, they would focus on gathering knowledge first, manners first. Sufyan al-Thawri said, a man would sit and study and learn adab and manners for 20 years before he learned anything else. 20 years. And people would be advised to learn from the manners of the Shaykh first. Because it's more important. I mean, meaning that if you gather knowledge and you have bad manners, who will sit with you to take it from you? Nobody. And you've all seen someone in your community who has information in their head, but they're rude. Yeah? You know the guy I'm talking about? What's your name? That guy. He's like 19. He comes to an uncle who's in his late 50s or 60s. Like, what's your name? Brother? Okay, he's your dad's age. Be respectful, call him uncle. No, he thinks I have info, alas. So he has no manners. So what happens? You find this guy, the whole community doesn't like when he's around. No one in the mission likes to deal with him, except troublemakers similar to him. They don't want to deal with him. Why? Because he's rude. Yes, he does know some ahadith, and he does know some ayat, and his knowledge is good. But even if your knowledge is good and your manners are bad, who wants to sit with you and accept your knowledge? Nobody. Nobody. That's why the scholars always focus on manners. Always focus on manners. You know, Imam Malik, rahimahullah, when he was a young boy, his mother sent him to study with the great scholar of Medina, Rabi'a al-Ra'i. So she tells him, اذهب إلى ربيعة فتعلم من أدبه قبل علمه. Go to Rabi'a and learn from his manners before you learn from his knowledge. Young man, learn his manners first before you start learning knowledge and quoting hadith and things like that. So what was the result? Imam Malik focused on learning knowledge from this scholar. And then when he became the teacher, he became a scholar, one of his students, a brilliant student, he said, I stayed with Imam Malik for 20 years. He stayed learning with him for 20 years. He said, in the first year, I gathered all the knowledge of Imam Malik. And he was brilliant. So in the first year, he learned everything, every hadith from the Imam, and basically from there on, it was repetition for him. You understand? It was just repetition. So they asked him, why did you stay for 19 years then? If you got all the knowledge in the first year, go somewhere else. He said, I stayed for 19 years to learn from his manners. Can you imagine what an ocean of manners this man was? What an example. So he says, I stayed for 19 years just to learn from his manners. But then he said something else that's more profound. He said, and I wish the entire 20 years were just to learn from his manners. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. This time pretend that you're interested, you're amazed, okay? So, I said like I never said it before, right? So then he was asked, he stayed then for 19 years gathering from his knowledge. Then he says something profound. He says, and I wish I spent the entire 20 years just learning from his knowledge. Good job, very good. You got to react, man. You can't just do it. That's something profound. Do I have to talk about Egyptian people again? Where are the Egyptians? Put your hands up. I absolutely love Egyptian people. You know why I love Egyptian people? Because they know how to react. Yes? Listen to an Egyptian chef giving a lecture. You hear all these guys yelling, Allah! Allah! The chef says something deep, they all respond. And in America, we have the African Americans. You say something, it moves them, and immediately. I know I repeat this story a lot, but the first time I went to the UK to give a lecture, so I'm bringing all the American jokes, and I think the British like smart, intelligent jokes. They don't like our stupid American jokes, right? So I'm bringing out all the jokes and everything, and just everyone's sitting like this. And one guy will go like this. And he laughed, yeah. So when I left, I told the organizer, I said, what's wrong? He said, what's wrong? I said, these people were not reacting at all. He said, no, today they were very responsive. What happens on other days? People die and stuff. Alright, so the first way we're trying to show the importance of akhlaq is to show you the wording. When the Prophet says why he was sent, I will send for your akhlaq. When Allah says, we sent the Prophet ﷺ also to fix your akhlaq. So we start to see akhlaq is very, very important. Not extra credit work. This is the real work itself. Now the second thing, we see there's a relationship between the acts of worship and your manners. So you find that acts of worship were designed to improve your relationship with Allah and also improve your manners and affect your manners. Right? So Allah says in the Quran, وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. And establish the prayer. Verily the prayer, it forbids the evil deeds and the reprehensible acts. Bad manners, part of evil deeds and reprehensible acts. So the salah prevents bad behavior and prevents bad manners as well. So now we see the act of worship and we see the effect that it has on your manners. Other examples with Hajj. Allah Azza wa said in the Quran, فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. So Allah Azza wa is mentioning certain mannerisms not to be present in Hajj. That involves also like wicked deeds, and also it involves argumentation in Hajj. So now we have the act of worship and how it's supposed to affect your manners. Other examples, one that we all know, when you're fasting. If you're fasting and someone insults you or argues or fights with you, what do you say? You respond with a similar insult, right? No. What do? You tell them, I'm fasting. Inni sa'im, inni sa'im. You say it out loud even. Why? So they become aware and they become ashamed a little bit. Yeah? Will that work here on the bus in Norway? I'm fasting. No. But for the Muslim, right? So to remind them. So you see that even acts of worship are there to affect your akhlaq in one way, affect your behavior in one way or another. So you can't tell me I'll focus on the act of worship and I don't have to focus on this. Absolutely you do. You have to focus on that. Sometime I went to a school and it was a tahfidh, Quran tahfidh school. And there were all these youth and they memorized a lot of Quran, 25 juz, 27, 17, 18, like that. Memorized a lot of Quran. And the school started doing Islamic studies, so I came to teach them Islamic studies. And they were so bad. Their manners were just incredibly bad. Incredibly bad. And they were just acting like street thugs, They were acting like punks from the street, and they were rude, and they were just extremely, extremely rude. So in the end, I had to let them have it. You know what I'm saying? No, not physically, So I was telling them, what is the value of you memorizing the entire book of Allah? Or more than half the book of Allah, or 26 ajza from the book of Allah, if in the end you act exactly like a kafir, a non-Muslim, who never heard of Islam, never heard of the Quran, never heard of Allah, and never heard of the Prophet ﷺ. What is the value of memorizing so much Quran if in the end, if I put you and a non-Muslim punk kid in the street, you guys look and act exactly the same? You see the problem? It should affect your behavior at some point. There's a saying in English that goes that if what you believe in does not impact how you behave, that means what you believe in is not important. If what you believe in does not impact how you behave, then what you believe in is not important. True or false?
True.
If you believe in something and it's important, and you believe that it's important, it affects your manners, it affects your behavior immediately. And if you behave exactly the same way, that means it wasn't an important belief to begin with. So we're talking about the importance of good manners. The guy with the water that he wants to argue about everything. If you sneeze, he wants to argue with you. Yeah, I didn't say anything to you, I'm sneezing. Let's just discuss it. He just wants to argue. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنِّي زَعِيمُ بَيْتٍ فِي رَبَضِ الْجَنَّةِ لِمَنْ تَرَكَ الْمِرَاءَ وَإِنْ كَانَ مُحِقًّا. He said, I guarantee a house in the lower part of paradise for the one who doesn't argue. He leaves arguing. Even if he's right. Even if he's right. You think, I'm not going to argue if I'm wrong. No. Even if you're right, don't argue. People now think Islam is just to argue. I learned a hadith so I can argue with people. I learned an ayat so I can corner my parents when I go home. Dad, I saw what you did. Let me tell you the hadith of Bukhari. They just learn so they can argue and make people miserable and corner people. Yeah? Learn some dalil so you can go and make someone uncomfortable. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I guarantee a house in the lower part of paradise For the one who leaves arguing, he stops arguing even if he's right. See, it's easier to stop arguing if you're wrong. But if you're right, oh, you want to put your face in it. And people will listen. It's difficult. Stop. Because this is not what the religion is for. Yeah? Then, of course, the hadith continues, and I guarantee a house in the middle of paradise for the one who doesn't lie or stops lying. Stop lying, and the Prophet guarantees for you a house in the middle of paradise. And then, and I guarantee a house in the highest part of paradise for which one? It has to do with our topic. The one with good manners. Highest level. The one with good manners. Amazing, huh? You know, giving nasiha in the best way. One time a man came to give nasiha to Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid was one of the khulafa, and he was also a very, very well-read and very knowledgeable, despite some of the things he did wrong, and he was also well-read and knowledgeable. So this man came to give him advice. And again, a lot of people think that if they have an opportunity to talk to a president or a mayor or a governor or someone important, they have to tear him up, give him a lesson. Yeah? A lot of young men believe this also. And many young men, they have a speech in their head. If they meet an important person or a president, they have a speech ready, just in case. And they're just going to attack him. Yeah? I actually saw this clip on YouTube of a president of a Muslim country, where there are hundreds of millions of Muslims. And he was overseas, and he bumped into a brother, let's just say a religious brother, with big beard, wearing a toga and everything, in the street. What a fantastic opportunity for you, that Allah guided you, you have some knowledge, and now you meet someone who leads hundreds of millions of Muslims. What a fantastic opportunity for you, right? To give him some nice words, some good advice, some encouragement, to say something nice to him, make him like religious people. You know what this guy did to him? He started to call him a kafir. That's all it is. What an opportunity for you. If you just had some wisdom, perfect opportunity. See something good. He just, you're a kafir, you're a kafir. And then that guy, he responded to him, the leader, with what we refer to as the worst comeback in comeback history. He tells him, and you're a bigger kafir than me. Okay. You're affirming that you're a kafir in your answer. Yes, I'm a kafir, but you're a bigger kafir. Okay. So basically, this man comes to Harun al-Rashid, and he wants to give him advice. He was harsh and hard with him. So Harun al-Rashid tells him something very, very nice. He tells him, Ya Rajul, iftuk. He tells him, oh man, be gentle. فَقَدْ بَعَثَ اللَّهُ مَنْ هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِنْكَ إِلَى مَنْ هُوَ شَرٌ مِنِّي فَأَمَرَهُ بِاللِّينِ. He says, Allah has sent someone better than you to someone worse than me, and He still commanded him to be gentle. And then he recites where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقولا له قولا لينا. Go to Fir'aun, he has transgressed, but give him a gentle speech. So Musa was greater than this man, and Harun al-Rashid is nowhere near as bad as Fir'aun. So someone so great was sent to someone so evil, and he was told to speak to him gently. So what makes people think they can come up to someone in the masjid and speak to them in a harsh way, in a rude way? What makes people think that that's permissible, or that that's okay, or that that's Islamic? So, let's look at some hadith which show us the importance of good manners in Islam. And you know something? Anytime you find, there's something interesting if you pay attention to it. When you find a great, great reward, a lot of times you find it's something simple that's done.